You ever get that feeling that you're not entirely in the driver's seat? Like some unseen force is kind of nudging your decisions, shaping your day in ways you don't even notice. Well, guess what? You're not wrong. And those forces, they have a name. To see what I mean, just think about your morning. That playlist that got your day started, did you really pick every single song? Or did a recommendation engine just serve up exactly what it thought you'd want to hear? And what about the route you took to grab that coffee? Yep, that was probably an algorithm too, right? Weaving you through traffic jams you didn't even know existed. But here's the thing. It goes way deeper than just music and maps. These same automated systems are moving from small, everyday conveniences to making huge, life-altering decisions. So yeah, this isn't just about getting recommendations anymore. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how our entire society is managed. It's a new kind of power, and it's called algorithmic governance. So what is it really? Well, at its core, it's about using these incredibly complex computer systems to manage us. From public services to the justice system, these algorithms are making calls that used to be made only by humans. They're designed to be our co-pilots, helping us navigate. But as we're about to see, sometimes they just grab the controls and fly the plane themselves. So you have to ask, why? Why are we handing over the keys so willingly? Well, the vision behind all this is, frankly, incredibly appealing. It's a promise to fix our biggest flaw, being human. For centuries, we relied on bureaucracy, right? And it's slow, it can be inconsistent, and let's be honest, it's often biased. The goal here is to use the pure logic and lightning speed of technology to create something better, something more rational and based on cold, hard data. And in theory, the process looks beautifully simple. First, you just gather enormous amounts of data. Then, you run it through a smart algorithm to find all the hidden patterns. And finally, bam! Out pops the perfect, most efficient decision. It's presented as clean, logical, and completely flawless. This is basically the sales pitch for a whole new kind of world. Imagine it, a world with no waste, where every decision is perfectly fair and totally unbiased. A system that can manage an entire city with perfect consistency and even predict and solve problems before they happen. It's the promise of a perfectly rational society. I mean, come on, it sounds like a utopia, right? But, and you knew there was a but coming, as we're learning, when you plug this so-called perfect code into our messy, imperfect world, you start to get ghosts in the machine. And that beautiful promise? It starts to fray around the edges. Let's start with objectivity. The dream was to get rid of human prejudice. But the reality? Algorithms are trained on our historical data, and our history is packed with prejudice. So instead of erasing bias, the algorithms just learn it. And here's the insidious part. The code has no idea it's being unfair. It just sees a strong pattern. So it takes that bias, hard codes it, and then applies it at a massive scale, creating a powerful engine for automated discrimination. Then you've got the efficiency trap. An algorithm designed to optimize city bus routes might look at the data and cut a route that only a few elderly people depend on, because on paper, it's just inefficient. The algorithm achieves its goal perfectly, but it completely ignores the complex, unquantifiable human needs that get lost in the data. And that leads to seriously dehumanized outcomes. And here's the real kicker. Many of these systems are what experts call a black box. Data goes in, a decision comes out, but even the people who built it can't always explain the logic inside. So if a biased decision is made, how can you possibly challenge it? How do you fix a problem you can't even see? And this isn't just theory. So let's look at how these systems are already operating out there in the real world, making some pretty high-stakes decisions about people's lives. In some justice systems, algorithms are actually used to predict whether a defendant will reoffend. But if the system is trained on historical data that shows more arrests in certain communities, maybe because of over-policing, it'll flag people from those communities as higher risk. This can lead to longer sentences, which then just reinforces the original bad data. It's this vicious feedback loop, all happening inside a black box that's nearly impossible for a person to challenge. Or take the workplace. Algorithms now manage schedules, monitor our every move for productivity, and even make hiring decisions. The goal is always maximum efficiency. But for the worker, it can feel like constant surveillance, where your humanity is way less important than your data output. It pits our well-being directly against the cold, relentless logic of optimization. This all leads to maybe the most important question of all. If code is governing us, then who governs the code? The solution isn't to just abandon the technology, but to find a way to put our human values back into the system. When you get right down to it, algorithmic governance is a double-edged sword. The potential to solve huge societal problems is real, and it is powerful. But the risks of making injustice worse, of eroding our privacy, and undermining our own control, those are just as real. Navigating this new world requires active human oversight. To fight bias, we have to constantly audit our algorithms and the data we're feeding them. To solve the black box problem, we have to demand transparency and systems that can actually explain their decisions. We need clear rules that say a human, not a machine, is ultimately responsible. And for the most critical decisions, we absolutely must keep a human in the loop. And that leaves us with one final and pretty profound question. We are essentially encoding our society's rules and values into these systems, hoping they'll make better decisions for us. But have we, as a society, really figured out and actually agreed upon what those values should even be? That is the conversation we need to be having right now.